call them and say, hey, this happened, when it's just not true. And if it does, they issue the warrant, and then it's up to you now. You pick up another charge. Is you Miss Ramon?
Yeah.
Okay. Monstavai? Is the co-defendant on today, Victoria? Is the co-defendant on today as well?
Yes, but not
What's
Fred.
the one?
They were on the jail docket yesterday, so I'm wondering for this guy. Haven't made it.
Oh, did you take a look at Monstavai? She's on deferred, and it looks like that may be at no bond, so, you didn't get her today, Dip? Right?
Well, they
That's-
populated on our bond application in the last week. Yes, but yeah, they're on the bond application.
I don't know about this.
Weird. Okay. Ms. Ramon, you were charged with theft. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
On April 9th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer was dispatched with a theft at Target. The officer arrived and made contact with loss prevention employees who stated they observed two Hispanic females, later identified as the defendant and co-defendant. They were in the store selecting merchandise and placing items in their shopping cart, specifically concealing some of the items in a baby car seat while one was pushing the cart. While this defendant was adding merchandise to the shopping cart, she removed the price tags from selected items. Meanwhile, the co-defendant walked through the makeup department, selected 3 items, and placed them in the baby car seat, along with other items they had previously chosen. The co-defendant then proceeded to the jewelry department, where she selected a purse, and both females then moved towards the front of the store, approaching the cash registers without making any pay for the items in the car seat, and exited the store without attempting to pay for the merchandise in the shopping cart that the co-defendant was pushing. The defendants were positively identified from previous AFI smokeshot photos, and the total value of the items taken was $150.98.
It's Walmart?
Target, Your Honor.
Target. Mr. Ramon, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to go to any Target for any reason. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you do, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds for you. I am also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact, hang out with, or be with Miss Monsivai. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you're hanging out with her, likewise, you will end up in custody. If you don't have anyone to pony up $5,000 to $10,000 to get you out of jail, you will be stuck like Chuck in there until this case is over with. And I'm telling you, it'll take 9 months just to get, certain types of evidence. Do you understand? What do you do with yourself these days?
I stay home taking care of my mom.
Did you graduate from high school? What are you going to do with the rest of your life, ma'am? If you need something to do, this is not the right way. A theft conviction will kill you because people know, you need something to do. When people have too much time on their hands, they become self-destructive, ma'am. You need something to do, and now is the time for you to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. You only have so much time. Before you know it, 5 years will pass. If you've done nothing, you're either going to, hanging out with the wrong crowd, be reliant on a man. You need to be strong as a woman. Never rely on a man. Knowledge is power. We're going to work on that. Do you mind appointing her a lawyer? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. We'll have you take your seat in the jury box. I'm going to find you a lawyer here, and then we'll figure out how we're going to go forward. Don't become a danger to our community. Don't hang around with the wrong people. They're just going to bring you down. You understand, man? Okay, come on.
This way. Go ahead and sign here, reset.
Good morning, Miss Roberts. Over, and over. Now on our 4th. You now stand charged with prostitution. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
On April 9th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer was conducting an undercover investigation and observed the defendant walking on the side of the street. The officer observed that the defendant was exposing part of her breast and made contact with the defendant. The defendant asked the officer if the officer was the police, to which the officer replied he was not, and the defendant gestured with hands a 100, indicating values. The officer, whose training experience recognized this to be a tactic used by prostitution workers to mitigate verbal conversations because they're aware of police reporting tactics. The officer then whispered 100, 104. The officer gestured a closed fist, entering and exiting the officer with mouth to indicate oral sex. The defendant then nodded her head up and down to indicate a yes response. The defendant then told the officer to get a room at a nearby motel. The officer stated the defendant gestured a 2 and 5 to indicate the price of the hotel. The officer left the scene and gave the predetermined bus signal, and the defendant was detained. The officer stated the defendant was positively identified using her FBI.
Okay. I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case, ma'am. Here's what we're going to do. I'm putting a monitor on your ankle now, and I'm forbidding you from going to any street from these cases that you've been on. If I find that you do, I'm going to revoke your bond, put you in jail, and I'm going to make your bond high. It stops today. Do you understand? The next thing that we're going to do, I will appoint you a lawyer, but it's time for you to get a real job, a 9-to-5 job, one where you actually work, get up, go to work for 8 hours, and then go home. I'm going to bring you back in 2 weeks, and I want to see what you have done to fill out a gajillion applications. If nothing gets done, it's not going to go well. Do you understand? But this stops on our 4th, no more. And if I find that you're engaging in any type of way, do you understand? So I'd like to look at all the streets for every single case that we've had here, and then we're going to forbid her from going to any of these streets. I want it to ding and a GPS monitor so that we know she's not going to any of these streets. And we'll go from there. I'm going to have you sign a receipt with Victoria, and then I'm going to have you take a seat in the jury box while we work out all the details, man. Please.
Judge, purpose of the monitor other than the exclusions, did you want a curfew or anything?
Yeah, I guess so. Right. Yeah. Let's do a curfew so she's not out in the middle of the night.
7?
No, I mean, I don't want it to be restrictive, like 9 to 6. Yeah. I don't want her going anywhere near any of the streets on any of those prior cases. No drugs, no alcohol, and must get a full-time job. Ready?
All right, Judge, page 7 and 8, Finley.
Morning, Mr. Finley. Is it Finley? Mr. Finley. You're charged with evading arrest or detention and unlawful carrying of a weapon. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Judge, I'd like to start out by prefacing that the unlawful carry is based on the defendant being under 21 years of age.
Okay.
And then I'll proceed with the.
Yeah.
On April 10, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, a law enforcement officer was dispatched to a disturbance with a weapon call. The 911 caller gave a description of an individual with a gun at an intersection. Law enforcement officers, upon arrival, found a defendant who matched the description in the intersection. The defendant looked at the law enforcement officers, marked the car, and ran from the law enforcement officers. Law enforcement officers then said to the defendant, "Police, stop," and the defendant disregarded the command and kept running. The defendant then ran into an apartment complex and met a dead end, then stopped running and was detained. The defendant.
So they saw the gun on him. They saw him with a gun.
Your Honor, I don't know that they saw him. It's after he was detained, they found the gun in his front right pocket.
What led them to him in the first place?
There was a 911 call. It seems the 911 caller did see the gun.
Okay?
And then the officers were dispatched.
That's the description of this dude with the gun.
Yes, Your Honor.
So cops come, he takes off. Okay.
And then, he was detained after evading for approximately 100 yards. And then the law enforcement officers searched the defendant and found a pistol in the defendant's front right jacket pocket, a small bag of marijuana in the defendant's front right hand.
Okay. Here's the problem. You're on felony probation. So I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause, Mr. Finley. Let's do this. Do you mind appointing him a lawyer today? And then we'll have him talk to a lawyer. For now, you are not to use alcohol or dope, be in possession of a weapon. You're on felony probation where you're looking at 2 to 10 in the penitentiary. You're supposed to live life as if you have a halo above your head, Mr. Finley, because if not, you're looking at up to 10 years prison. You understand? What do you do with yourself these days? Do you work? Go to school?
Before that, got arrested, I got fired.
What were you doing?
Warehouse job.
Okay? It's time to get back to the jobs. You need to get a job, and I am making that a condition of your bond as well. If I find that you're not working, just doing nothing all day, it's not going to go well for you. I'm going to test you like crazy. If I find that you're using, it's not going to go well. Do you understand? I'm giving you the opportunity now to not use, because I'm telling you, I will test you 45 days from today. And if you continue to use, it's not going to go well for you. Do you understand?
So,
So back again in 2 weeks to see about a job. And then, so for now, I'll have you go to Victoria Center reset. We'll have you take a seat in the jury box while we have you sign bond conditions. You will meet shortly here with pretrial for your bond conditions. All I want are my streets to be safe. You do anything to my streets. You understand me? Come on.
Your Honor, just to clarify.
I'm finding probable cause on both cases.
Both cases, yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Yeah, he's on felony probation, you know?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Judge, that was the
Is that it?
last arraignment.
Great.
All right, well,
Hi, Lori. What's new?
I'm approaching on Candace Gibbs. She's charged with failed to ID. I was,
Jail?
the court, I don't know if they just didn't do that. I saw this was something. I'm not sure why.
There like two Bs then?
There,
She hasn't signed it.
She's had recess
Okay, so you
What?
have to look at it.
April 8th, 15th. Your next court date, 30th.
She just went to court, she got picked up on me.
I don't know why the court hasn't addressed these yet.
Okay, so Ms. Gibbs, the reason I'm bringing you out now is that your lawyer is asking for me to give you a PR bond on your failure to identify oneself. I don't know, you know, I have to look at what's going on in your life to see, should we give you a PR bond? Are you a danger to the community? I
Not
mean,
at all, sir. Not at all. I'm a college graduate. I've got 4 kids I need to take care of. I have a job. I have a vehicle. I have no problem getting to court at all. Like this, the last 2 court dates that I had with my felony, I had a miscarriage and I was in the hospital. And they're aware of that.
everybody tells me it's little bunnies jumping in the woods.
It's
You know?
that's the only thing it was. It was I had a for real miscarriage.
I get
Yeah.
it. But you're on bond for a felony endangering a child.
Mhm.
You've picked up 2 fraudulent uses. And now, after those 3 cases, you've now picked up a 4th case of failure to identify oneself. So
They were all in this.
stop.
Okay.
You have the right to remain silent. I just want to know what's going on
Yes, sir.
to see whether we should give you a PR bond, because this is not a revolving door, you
I
know?
understand that.
Yeah.
I apologize.
So we're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Okay, please.
Thank you. On April 2nd, 2025, the officer was monitoring a neighborhood police radio broadcast. The officer heard a broadcast call for the theft of a department store off of East Sam Houston Parkway in Harris County, Texas. The caller gave a description of the defendant and explained the defendant had just left the store. The officer arrived in the area and found the defendant as she was described by the caller, along with a male individual with the defendant. The officer observed the defendant and the individual enter into a motor vehicle and exit the parking lot. The officer observed the motor vehicle have no front license plate and expired registration. The officer conducted a traffic stop and made contact with the defendant, and the defendant identified themselves as Kathleen O'Brien, date of birth, May 24th, 1982. The defendant stated she did not have any ID card on her person. The officer looked up the defendant by the name and date of birth on the public safety photo, and they did not resemble the defendant. The officer asked for the name and date of birth of the defendant once again, and the defendant gave the same name and date of birth. Due to the photograph not matching, the officer attempted to confirm the defendant's name and date of birth with the mobile FIS that returned the actual identity of the defendant as Candace Lynn Gibbs, date of birth July 16, 1981. Along with a Harris County Sheriff's Office mugshot of the defendant that matched the driver of the vehicle.
So they didn't charge her with a theft?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Or they did not.
So what's going on with the 2 fraud cases that she has that shows like no bond?
Not sure.
You know anything about those cases, Lori?
No, sir. I know that she went to court on the 15th, 14th?
15, yes,
On
ma'am.
the 15th on the, I received an email from her felony attorney stating that this was the only case that was holding her in and to see if I could move her up to get her out.
She said something that they weren't filed or they weren't, or something hadn't been done where.
Yeah, she said they weren't filed yet.
They're filed. I guess the judge just hasn't signed it yet.
Your Honor, it looks like there was a plea offer made originally for the endangerment of a child. And that plea offer has been made now on the fraudulent use case. That was just, I believe, discussed between the felony prosecutor and the defense attorney. I believe that may be the intention, Your Honor, on the cases upstairs.
In this case, Lori, in the fraudulent use case, in her clutch, as they pull them over, she has the identifying credit cards, debit cards of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 different items of other people's identifying information. You are on bond for endangering a child. You pick up 2 fraudulent use cases and now allegedly at a store doing whatever with a failure to ID. I'm not going to sit here and give you yet another PR bond. You know, at some point we have to say when, and now is that time. Your bond, literally $50 to get you out, right? But I can't sit here and continue to just perpetuate this thing over and over and over. All I want is my community to be safe, you know?
I understand that,
So
sir.
I'm going to find probable
In an
cause.
abusive relationship.
Don't say anything, but gotta understand that, right, just, I'm not gonna give her a PR bond, Lori, I'm sorry. All right. So ma'am, what we'll do now, your felony cases are set for the 30th of April. We can set you for the day after and we'll go from there. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
That's what we said.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Okay, got
Good morning, Mr. Sherrill. Good morning. Mr. Sherrill, you're charged with, if I remember correctly, it's terroristic threat, right?
Let's.
Did you get the cause number?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's.
Okay, so Mr. Sherrill, you're charged with terroristic threat. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We have already done probable cause. I found probable cause to go forward with your case. We set a bond. He's made the bond or no?
Yes, he has. He's.
You've made the bond,
Yes.
okay. So, I am entering in what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection. This is a court order that identifies Ms. Taylor as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person, commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot be in possession of a weapon or go within 200 feet of where she lives or where she works. Do you understand? They're not currently together now?
No.
Okay, great. So there's just no,
So,
I don't want to talk about the case.
no, it's not. She still like communicates with like my family and my friends. Like I don't even live here, and it's events come like my best friend's wedding. I'm going to the wedding, but she's trying to come. So how do I have
Got to be careful, you know? You're not to have any contact with her, you know?
Well, she's
This court.
sounds like she's using. I don't know if she knows there's a restraining or a protection
She
order.
is using. The officer was a personal friend, so that's why.
Okay, well,
So this merely says that you can't go to or near her residence, right, where she lives, where she works. Don't have any contact with her. The problem is that there's a lot of vindictive people in this life. You know, if you go to the same place that she is and you end up bumping into each other and she says something to you, you know, it's a recipe for disaster. So you have to be very careful. If you go to this wedding and she's there, it's like a ticking time bomb. So you need to be just very careful because I don't know, you know, what kind of person she is. If she's that type of person, you got to be very careful because there are a lot of people that will call them and say, hey, this happened when it's just not true. And if it does, they issue the warrant and then it's up to you now. You pick up another charge. So just be careful, you know? All I want is just you not to have any contact with her. Don't be in possession of weapons. As long as you can do that, we're cool. I'm going to waive your appearance so you don't have to waste your time coming to court here as well. Just stay in touch with counsel and he'll tell you if and when you have to come back to court here. So you don't have to come back and forth every single court date. Just stay in contact and he'll let you know if and when you have to come back.
I appreciate it.
Do you have any questions?
I guess so.
You live in Baltimore, right? Okay. So for now, what I'm gonna have to do is I'll have you sign a reset with Victoria. We'll have you take a seat in the juror box. We'll get your bond conditions. I'll have you sign it, and after that, you're free to go. Okay?
I've got a couple to talk to you about this morning.
You do the easy ones first.
Well, whenever I have to talk to you, Judge, they're never easy.
That's not true.
Fair enough, fair. But these,
I know. Okay.
the first one is going to be Wilson Keonje. Start with the less difficult.
Okay.
Can we hear PC on this one?
Is it? You say Keontae? Keonjae.
Keontae.
Okay. Yeah. Of course.
On February 6, 2025, a law enforcement officer was dispatched to an assault at Provision High School. Law enforcement officer arrived and observed 15 to 20 students fighting each other and struggling with staff members and security guards. The law enforcement officer retained a number of students. After the scene mostly calmed down, the female was struggling and fighting against male students to run out onto the floor and rejoin the fight. The law enforcement officer approached the males and told them the female students' hands behind their back. The law enforcement officer got closer to the defendant, turned towards the law enforcement officer, put his arms up to stop the law enforcement officer's progress towards the female and said, no, no, no. The law enforcement officer grabbed the defendant's shirt and told him not to interfere or he'd be taken to jail. The defendant replied, I will, and remained in the law enforcement officer's path. The law enforcement officer handcuffed the defendant and ordered him to get on the ground and began pushing the defendant towards the ground and told him to get on the ground again. The defendant remained on his knees, pushing up against being pushed. The law enforcement officer pushed the defendant down towards the wall. The defendant pushed up, causing the law enforcement officer to fall to the ground. The defendant righted herself before continuing to struggle with the defendant to get him to the ground. I believe that's a typo. The law enforcement officer righted themselves.
So there's a fight.
Yes, Your Honor.
The officer is asking him to move, get out of the way, so he can do whatever he needs to get done, and he just refuses to get out of the way.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anna?
So it sounds like the interference is my client doing this.
He's impeding the path of where he's trying to go or what he's trying to do,
Okay.
right? I mean,
That's what I have you on.
is there a body cam on this?
It looks like we do have a significant amount of video
Have you
in.
seen the body cam? Does it show that?
I have not watched them all because it's quite a bit, Judge.
Okay.
But
And you remember, it's a low burden,
I understand.
probable cause, and he's, the officer says, hey, move, man, I gotta get this stuff done. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna move, I'm gonna stay here, just, I mean, I get it's just standing there, but,
Okay.
so look at the video. If you see something different, let me know.
Okay. The next one I have to talk to you about is Torrance.
Come up, Ms. Torrance.
I've spoken with the state, and so there's kind of a couple of things going on. I'm assuming you want to do the BVR first. I've spoken with the state. We are going to ask for a hearing. I'll let the state speak for themselves because
Your Honor, we do not have any toxicology back. We have blood alcohol report, but that is not the toxicology report.
Well, talking about the bond violation
Bond
report.
violation, I apologize.
It's okay.
I apologize.
I don't think the state is prepared to have the hearing today. But
I've got bond violations. The Scram device has confirmed alcohol consumption violations on 3/15/25 at 1:51 p.m., 3/23 at 7:14. Confirmation was received 3/25/25 by the analyst, and it's a third bond violation.
I understand, Judge, but
Let her go.
the rules of evidence apply at a bond hearing, and we need somebody with personal knowledge or somehow to get around that hearsay to do the hearing, and I don't think the state's prepared to do that today.
We do not have anyone here to do that today, Your Honor. I apologize.
Hey, who do we need? What Scram analyst do we need to get down here? So we can, right, so they can testify that what's in the BVR. I'm sending her now for a drug and alcohol test right now as well.
I'm going to send her for the test now.
Right now.
Okay. Okay. Have a seat, and then once they put the order in, we'll have you go over there. Okay.
She could have over before the drink.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay. You go over to 41 San Jacinto? Okay.
And then Anthony, do you see, who do we have that can come?
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
get
mind?
a name and this one.
Yeah, okay.
You want me
We'll
to-
get it. I'm gonna try to get it today.
They'll probably need
Okay, who else?
And then, well, so the secondary issue, on Ms. Torrance is we have gotten the alcohol report back. They sent the, blood off to get analyzed for toxicology.
Oh, Lord, did you just send the blood off?
And Judge, if,
No,
Verify when that,
this case is 233 days old, and we have violation after violation. I'm not waiting anymore. She's way too much drama for me, and I'm ready to set this thing for trial. I'm not doing it anymore.
For the courts, I did email the person on that side, just got a response. Toxicology analysis still in process, pending completion, it's likely requires some time before the lab work received.
Did you just send it?
No.
Wait.
We've been sending follow-ups, this was like a last preliminary attempt. Do we have it reviewed? They still don't have it.
Do you have other things to go on regardless?
I think we have.
No?
Spoke with defense counsel, there is, from a proper, there was alcohol in the system.
Well, look, it doesn't matter to me, however you guys want to do it, but to me, way too much drama. I'm setting this case for trial. That's
Okay.
it, because
yeah, and he has laid an offer, I just,
I need to talk to her about the offer. If it's not moving anywhere,
Okay.
I'm setting it today.
Okay,
Way
and-
too much drama.
just to remind the court, when I was here last time, you gave them 30 days and said if they didn't have the report, that it wasn't coming.
Okay.
I understand the state has to do its job.
Okay, so can you take a look and then, take a look
Absolutely.
and then let's go. But yeah, I'm ready. Hi, Maverick. How are you, man?
Doing good, you?
Sorry to bring you down here.
Oh, it's good.
Is your client here?
Yes.
Should we bring him
Come
up?
up.
I did speak to pretrial, and they did confirm that they are kind of in the mistake. We didn't not comply. This is because we did come here to court on a Monday, 4/7. And when you were here, you already knew his results. Oh, Bennett.
Okay.
And so you already knew his results, and you told him, look, I already know your results. There's no use to test him on Thursday. Because he was on a Monday, Thursday at the time. Let's switch him to once a week. We can't tell him when he would be tested next week, but which day, but sometime next week he'll be tested. So on Thursday, they of course call him, and he's like, okay, I already was told not to do it, and then he did not go, and so it put him in the system as a BVR, when he was, in his opinion, following directions.
Okay, I'm gonna send him now, I
That's
guess.
fine, and they even said.
As long as you're
today.
clean, I'm happy. I just don't want anything in your system, especially oxy. That's all I want. I'm not asking for much, We'll send him for a test now. Hopefully he's clean. If so, everybody's happy. I won't ding him on this. If he's dirty, I don't know what we're gonna do. So let's do this, because it's gonna take a while and I know how busy you are. Leave me your cell phone.
I'm trying to court 3 all day today.
But I can text you, so that way you don't, don't say it.
Okay.
Here. If you write down your cell phone, please, and then I'll text you. All right, just take a seat for me. We're gonna send you here momentarily, Mr. Bennett. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Judge, just clarifying, Ms. Torrance, if it's possible, if you want to have that bond violation.
If we can, I don't know about the analysts and how soon they can get here,
Pretrial messaging to see if they can possibly do it.
ASAP. Hi, come on.
Judge, I just have one person on docket, parents, were you Macero Barcenas?
Senas.
Yes, his second last name, Judge. First last name, Macero, Macero.
Okay. Tell me.
I believe our last court setting, we were offered a decision-making course for dismissal.
Okay.
I sent it to my client. I believe he started. I just haven't received a certificate, but I believe maybe he might have finished. He just hasn't sent it. I was gonna ask if I just get a little time to confirm whether he's finished.
See how old it is. It's 191 days old. He's had since April. I'm
sir.
sorry, since March 4th to get it done. Is he here now?
No, his appearance was waived today, Judge.
We'll set you off a week.
Yes, Judge.
Got to be here in a week.
Absolutely.
Tell him if he doesn't get it done, I'm gonna roll him day for day in 3 weeks.
Excellent. Sounds good. Thank you, Judge.
Finlay.
Streeting.
Good morning, Judge.
Hi.
I'm actually on intake and I'm just here for Mr. Finley.
What's the last name?
Finley. Yeah, Kambamba. How do you say it? I can't find his I
I
can't
still
find
don't. Let's see.
Jalen Finley. It's Fin or Finley? Finley.
M is in Mary,
The first name is Jalen.
but the last name.
Find
F. Okay.
Lay. Finley.
Is he in jail?
It says it's on bond.
Oh, you got the new case. I see.
That's
That's
a new case, yeah.
Gotcha. So he's on felony probation. I've ordered him not to use. I told him I'm going to test him in around 45 to 50 days.
Okay.
I'm bringing him back in 2 weeks to see what he's done to get a job as well, just reading. So he's not just doing nothing. May 6th to the 8th, Ms. Reedy.
May 8th is great.
8th. 8th, yeah. Hi, Hugh.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Well, hold on.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
just admonish him in front of you.
Oh, okay.
Anthony, can I talk to him real quick? This is the lawyer that we've appointed to represent you, Ms. Freedy. It is your responsibility to stay in touch with her. If she tells me she can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, you pick up a 4th case, it's not gonna go well for you. Do you understand? Keep my streets safe, okay? Do you have Mr. Finley's, application so I can get, I'm sorry, Mr. Finley's application, so I can get
David?
I have it here, what do you need?
I want to get I want to chat her the cell phone so she has it.
Oh, I can email it to her, I have her email address.
Okay,
I'll do it right now.
Victoria's going to email you his cell phone so you have it, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, yes, Ms. Freedy, have fun.
Happy Easter.
You too. Hugh, you ready? Joseph, I'll hit you up next.
All right, Judge. Stephanie Alcantar,
Okay,
and I submitted a mitigation packet, and the state and I have come to an agreement where they're going to have 16 hours of community service and then a parenting class.
and what?
And a parenting class.
Got it, okay.
So I was going to see if we can get a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll give you 2 weeks. Okay.
If we can do 16 hours. So
She here?
yes,
You might bring her up.
yes. Ms. Alcantar?
She's not doing anything in life then, because it's already nearly 200.
She's a single mother, and she watches her kids, and then also all of her families, their cousins and relatives' kids as
To
well.
Alcantar, they've given you a great offer where they will dismiss your case if you do 2 things: 16 hours of community service and a parenting class. How long will it take you to get the 16 hours done? Okay, done. The quicker you do it, the better it is for you. The only other thing I'm going to tell you is don't bring your proof on a bar napkin. It's got to be at a legitimate place, like the Houston Food Bank or something like this. Don't wait till the day before court to get it done. I would start on it immediately. All right? Okay. All right, guys. Have fun. Mr. Hernandez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 1 year in jail. This is to be probated for 15 months. As part of this agreement, you will do a DWI repeat offender education class. You will do 2 victim impact panels. You will do a TRAS. This is an evaluation to see what other conditions you need. If they assess other conditions, you must fulfill them, including substance abuse treatment. No drugs, alcohol, no breath test refusal. If you are pulled over while on this probation and an officer asks you to submit a breath test, you must do it while you're on this probation. 40 hours of community service. Do you have any children, sir? Do you have any children? $100 one-time donation to the Houston Food Bank, 3 days in Harris County Jail as a condition to begin May 9th. You are way, way too young to have 2 DWIs going on your record now. This is a damn shame. And the reason is because you will probably be driving for the next 50 years. The problem is that are you going to remember this in 20 years? Are you going to remember this in 30 years? Look at me. What happens if you pick up another DWI? No. No. Prison. You're looking at 2 to 10 in the penitentiary if you ever pick up another DWI. And you don't have to be sloppy, falling down drunk for you to get another one. Just the mere smell in and of itself. When they look at you and they look at your record, they're going to make assumptions. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, somehow I have to get a hold of your attention so that you understand that we mean business, that it's unacceptable for this to continue to happen. I'm now going to hit you with a surcharge of $4,500 that you will be required to pay. And if you don't pay it, every $100 that you owe, you will sit 1 day in jail. Do you understand? We will give you a sufficient amount of time to pay, but if you start clowning, you pick up another case, you consume alcohol, if you pick up another DWI, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. We will have a hearing, and you're looking at an entire year in jail. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I hope that you don't pick up a felony, but the problem is that time heals wounds. In 30 years, you will have forgotten about this, but the law never forgets. So you go out on a date, you win the lottery, whatever. You understand?
Sir.
You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You also give up the right to appeal. Once you accept this agreement, you are stuck with this until you're done, you complete it, or if it gets revoked. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Is this what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I'm gonna find you guilty. So the total fine that he will owe is the $4,500, then how much your court costs?
It'll be the 4,500 plus the 410. The
So-
4,900.
You will owe now $4,910. We will give you at least 2 years to pay. If you need more time to pay, we can give it to you. If you have any problems while you're on this probation, you can come back and talk to us. She's an extraordinary person, always willing to help. It's not about, the worst possible thing you can do is just take off. Issues come back, we can always work through anything. I am now required to suspend your license. I'm going to suspend it for 1 year. Do not drive. You understand? You get popped driving, it's not gonna go well for you. You understand? Okay, man, good luck.
Your Honor, one additional,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Judge. One additional thing.
Talk to me.
Mr. Hernandez has had a breathalyzer in his vehicle for the past 7 months. He's been in compliance the whole time. Does he have to keep that in the vehicle?
So I'm suspending his license, Joseph. I'm suspending it for a year. So what we'll do is we'll take it off now once he gets his portable device. He's got to get the portable device first.
All right.
Okay? You need to understand that every officer in this state knows that you're not allowed to drive unless you have an ignition interlock in your car. You get pulled over and you don't have an interlock in your car, they will arrest you and put you in jail. And then we file a motion to revoke. So don't attempt to drive. Find another way around. Do you understand? I know it's a hardship, but somehow, Mr. Hernandez, we got to get a hold of your attention. Look at the news. Every day someone dies in our county. Hopefully this is the last of it. Good luck. Waive all his fees as far as supervision. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good luck, Mr. Hernandez. Hi.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Joseph.
You're welcome.
Take care, man.
You too.